Hey, everybody, in Freedom from Rent community. I have a special guest, and as promised, we're doing our weekly podcast. And I have a good friend of mine and somebody that I work with and talk to probably two or three times every single day. And Brian, I don't even know if I shared with you, but this show is called Home Hour. It's not Happy Hour, not
Okay,
Happy Hour, but it's called Home Hour.
very smart. Very
And
nice.
here we talk about, how to stop paying your landlord's mortgage. And Brian has been in the industry of helping people to stop paying the landlord's mortgage for a long time. So Brian, why don't you
Yeah,
I'm going to share my screen, but while I'm doing that, if you could introduce yourself and
absolutely. Absolutely. So, hello, folks. Good day to you. My name is Brian Holland. I currently serve the pleasure of being an employee and a business develop operations sales rep, let's be honest, for Stewart Title. Stewart Title has been in business in this great country of ours for over 131 years. At Stewart Title, we are a nationwide and global full service title and escrow company. And what does that mean? We are a one stop shop for your title and escrow needs. So when you are meeting with your lender to secure a loan, and then subsequently meeting with David to find the home of your dreams, that's where my company comes into play to make sure that once you take possession of that home, it is yours free and clear. Now, that doesn't mean free and clear of your mortgage. You got to pay your mortgage, but free and clear of any prior ownerships, any prior liens, debts associated with that property to make sure you are the 100% rightful owner, period, end of story. So that is a gist of what I do. And I have been doing this in Las Vegas or in Clark County now for 22 years. I'm celebrating 22 years in the business. Only a little over 2 years and 3 months with Stewart Title. But by all means, this is my forever home. David, I just want to let you know, please, it's with humble gratitude that I thank you for allowing me to be a guest on your show tonight. You and I, we do have a history of even outside of
yeah.
real estate, but we can get into that some other time. I just want to let you know, thank you. It humbles me that you would have me as a guest. So thank you.
Well, absolutely, Brian. And my goodness, Brian really knows what he's talking about when we start diving into what does it mean? Because people hear escrow, they hear title, and it gets a little confusing. So we're going to break all that down. And I would be remiss if I didn't send a shout out. We had Radhika last week. She was a renter, and now she's a homeowner. So I have to say congrats. And then we just actually put a Amy, who's my newest, she's a member of Freedom from Rent, and Amy is with Stewart Title, and she's in escrow right now. And Brian, she had tears in her eyes when she knew that she was in, and I'm sure you've had that happen to you time and time again. But the emotions, that's why I love my job. So I didn't even tell Brian this. We kind of put this together last minute. But I've actually got a slideshow and I want to share that with you. And we're going to talk about the slideshow.
Oh,
So,
wow.
freedom from rent, understanding title and escrow in Southern Nevada. So, let's dive in, Brian. I've got about
Yes,
6 or 7 slides, and that way, hopefully, we can break down maybe some myths, some questions, and help people understand what this whole home buying process is like. So,
understood.
we're going to talk about what is title, legal ownership, clear ownership. Talk about what is title, Brian.
Uh, so how I explain it to folks, and believe me, folks, it's not you. And let me share a quick story, if I may. 22 years ago, I started with a company called Nevada Title. Nevada Title has since sold to a larger company, so they're no longer in business. However, they did bring me up in this industry, so to speak. I was with them for 14 years. So I remember my very first day of training at Nevada Title as a sales rep. Young lady comes in, Lisa Brown comes in and says, okay, who here is a homeowner? And at the time, I had recently purchased a condo. So I raised my hand. I'm a homeowner. She says, oh, you know all about title and escrow. I said, nah, no. I was told where to go, who to see, what to sign, how much money to bring, where are my keys? Thank you very much. Have a great day. You're a homeowner. But
Right.
David, I just want to go back just a hair. When you said that once Amy discovered, once you told her that she was in escrow and it brought tears to her eyes, David, no joke, I had a chill go down the back of my neck, and here's why. I remember the moment I found or I secured a loan for my first home. I remember the moment that my then realtor showed me this new construction, a new build, condominium in Summerlin. I remember doing the walkthrough. I remember going to First American Title, the title company that facilitated the title and escrow of this property, sitting down with the escrow officer. I remember the feeling, the joy. When I signed my last document, and they sent me an email later that day saying we are recorded, and the realtor showed up, met me at the front door, and to hand me the key to my home, to my property.
Yes.
This was 30 plus years ago. I remember it as if it were yesterday. So when you told me that story, or when you told us all about
Yeah.
that story about Amy, I got emotional. I had that chill go down the back of my neck, and I had to. I know you didn't ask me to go into the detail about that. I had to share. Thank you, thank you. So, what
Uh,
is title?
yes,
Title is,
sir.
yes, as Mr. Berry explained, it is the legal ownership of that property. Basically, folks, in a nutshell, title insurance is the exact opposite, excuse me, of your auto insurance policy. For example, when you buy a vehicle today, at the very least, you have to have limited liability, if not full coverage, protecting you from today moving forward. Title insurance is the quintessential opposite. Once you purchase a home and you have a loan, your lender will require you to have a title insurance policy, which I recommend anyway, that covers you from the day you purchase the property going backwards. In other words, if the title company that you are dealing with missed, for some reason, a long lost heir or a debt, a lien, an HOA judgment against the property,
That's something against the property, right, Brian?
right, it's against the property.
Right.
So with a title insurance policy, anything that was attached to the property, perhaps missed and not settled when you took possession from the previous owner, including a new build, for your previous owner would have been the builder. It protects you from that. So if there is a long lost heir, a judgment, a lien that you are now financially responsible for, your title insurance policy will kick in. There are no attorney's fees, no court fees, there's no deductible, there's no monthly. Once you secure that title insurance policy from the day you purchase the home or the day that you record and the home is now yours, that title insurance policy stays in place as long as you and or your heirs legally own that property.
Understood. And so basically, clear ownership means that there's no claims, no liens, no encumbrances. There's nothing, you have full protection and clear ownership, right?
100%.
What's the term they use in title? You have clear and
Free
uh,
and clear,
free and clear title. Yes.
free and
All
clear
right.
ownership of the, yes.
All right. Let's move on to the next
Okay.
slide. Now, why escrow is crucial. I mean, this is things that, you know, people get so emotional and there's a lot of emotions in getting your home and not having somebody, you don't have to raise your hand and say, Brian, can I have permission to repaint the kitchen? I want to change the backyard landscape. Can I, and so it's an emotional thing, but this is something that is sometimes overlooked. So why escrow is so crucial, Brian?
Well, you know what, David? Let's do this. I'll answer it with the knowledge that I have, but I would suggest on a future recording, a future show of
Podcast.
yours,
Yeah, yes.
podcast, that we actually bring one of my premier escrow officers to go into a deep dive about escrow.
Okay.
However, in a nutshell, basically escrow, I like to use the joke that escrow is like a poker dealer at one of our beautiful casinos here in Las Vegas. They collect all the money and make sure the appropriate people are paid. For example, if there was a previous, if the current owner, before you take possession of as the new owner of the property, so if the current owner has an IRS judgment, a lien, anything against an HOA lien against the property, we make sure that out of the seller's proceeds, those debts are satisfied.
Right.
So we make sure, as the poker dealer in the game, we collect all the money, make sure the appropriate parties are paid accordingly, the appraiser, the so forth and so on. And then the seller would get the remaining proceeds, should there be any.
Got
So
it. Got it.
that, in a nutshell, is what escrow is. We make sure all the debts, liens, encumbrances are all satisfied. So the new owner, which is going to be you in the future, friends, owns this property, as we said at the top of the program, free and clear.
Brian, thank you so much. That's a great explanation. And by the way, guys, to my Freedom from Rent community, we try to break this down. Like, we're not trying to overtalk you. We're not trying to show you our knowledge. We're trying to break it down to where you understand it, because we want you to understand the process. And by the way, the more you understand this process, the better the future looks, and the better when you're gonna, because I've purchased eight different homes in my lifetime. And I never really had anyone break all this stuff down because you're just so in the emotion. Let's go to the next slide. Now, the role of the title company, and again, it would be great to have one of your perfect. And how many escrow officers do you have? I mean, you have tons.
Oh my goodness. So with Stewart Title here locally in Clark County, we have a location in Pahrump. We have a location in Mesquite. We have a location, our new location is right off of 215 and Green Valley Parkway, kind of next door to the Green Valley Station Casino. My main office is 7251 West Lake Mead Boulevard, which is Lake Mead and the 95. We are in the Nevada Bank of Nevada building.
Okay. And then what's the role of the title company? They do the title search. And these are
Correct.
things that you've been talking about. And the insurance. I mean, insurance is key when you're buying a house. And
Yeah.
the title search is it's simply put, and again, I'm not an escrow officer, but we understand that title, they're just going to just think of it as a way of going back and checking and making sure that everything checks out. The
Yeah.
title has to be free of any encumbrances so
Mhm.
that they can transfer title to you, my member in Freedom from Rent. Uh,
Yes.
and that's my favorite thing, Brian. I got to be honest, when I'm holding the keys and I'm giving it
Oh,
to him, we're
man.
taking a picture. I love that. I want to do that every day. It's so much fun.
You
Uh,
know, oh, no, I was just going to mention that, yes, it is so rewarding when I am part of the signing. So, David, when you bring your clients into Stewart Title for their signing, if I'm not there, definitely the escrow officer is going to be there. We have these little signs that say, I love my realtor, or my first home, or I love my lender, that they love taking pictures with, not for us
Absolutely.
to
Yeah.
blast them on our social medias. We take those pictures and give it to them so they can share it with their friends and family and their social media, because it is such a joy. I've only had one gentleman tell me, no, Brian, please don't take my picture. Don't send it to me. I can't post it. I can't share this. And I said, oh my goodness, this is your first home. May I ask why? He said, I'm in the special forces. I can't put it out on social media.
Yeah.
Well, I said, you know what? That's the best excuse I've ever heard. Congratulations on your new home, brother. I'm proud of you.
All
Young
right. Well,
man, first time home buyer. Yes.
this next slide, Brian, is navigating escrow in Southern Nevada. We're going to take one. I'll take one, then you take one, then I'll take one, and then you take one. So the
Okay.
earnest money deposit, I mean, this is basically a good faith deposit. Just like if you're buying anything, you want to show good faith. So usually it's around 3,000, 5,000, sometimes 10,000, depending on the price of the house. But this shows that you're serious about making the purchase. And this is a refundable deposit. We can get a little bit more into that. And then, Brian, why don't you touch on the inspection period?
Absolutely. So the inspection period, or that time, uh, that is our way of making sure there's due diligence in the home being inspected. Um, making sure there's no mold or termites, that the foundation is there, that the air conditioning systems, things of that nature are up to par, or do they need attention before your freedom from rent community takes possession of their home. So this is a very crucial part of the process. Now, typically, escrows can last typically 30 to 45 days. That's what we like to gear it towards. I've seen escrows go a lot quicker, depending on the situation. I've seen them take sometimes longer, but on average, 30 to 45 days from your earnest money deposit to receiving your keys and your home being recorded with the county. So during that time, there is the inspection period, very crucial to make sure everything that you're getting is up to par.
And by the way, guys, just so you understand, it's typically 10 days. It's a 10-day due diligence
Oh,
process
that part, yeah.
period. And if for any reason you want, you can cancel. So you're not obligated. So a lot of times people, Brian, a lot of my clients are afraid because now they've given the earnest money, they've signed a contract, but they can basically cancel for any reason. So they don't have to just wait. You don't have to wait to see if there's a problem in the house. You could cancel, but most of my clients, by the time that they've gotten to the inspection period, they're pretty serious about buying. And
Oh,
then the
well,
same thing,
absolutely.
yeah, and then the same thing for the loan approval. This is usually about a 10 to 14 day period where we can make sure that we have everything in order with your loan. Because if you don't, if for some reason maybe the loan falls out or the lender says, we're sorry, we found something that's on your file, we're going to have to tell you, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to fund your loan. We have a loan approval process, and if for any reason we can cancel the contract due to your loan approval. But that's why it's so important that you get that pre-qualification letter from your lender. And then the closing process itself, I know this is something you're really passionate about, Brian. Go ahead, take it away.
Oh my goodness. So the closing process is just that. All liens, encumbrances, outstanding debts have all been satisfied. This is the time that your escrow officer will reach out to you and or your realtor to schedule that appointment for that 30 to 45-minute meeting that you come to the escrow company. We will inform you of what documents you need to bring with you. For example, at the very least, you will need a state-issued government identification, be it just a state ID or driver's license. Other forms of identification, should you need them, and your escrow officer will tell you well in advance if you need to bring your military ID, passport, or something other than just your driver's license or government issued state identification. You sit down with your escrow officer. Hopefully your David Barry will be there. The lender will be there to answer any last minute questions, and your escrow officer will walk you through the paperwork, explain what each document is. And folks, I'm here to tell you, get your pen hand strong because you will be signing a lot of documents that are all necessary to the closure of this contract and the closure of you being the new homeowner. So
All right.
it is a process. It does take time, but we'll get you through it.
And just to add one more thing, and Brian alluded to this earlier, once your house closes, then the house has to record. So typically, if we close in the afternoon on a Thursday, we're going to record the next morning on Friday, and I'm going to hand your keys on Friday. A lot of people think that once you are done signing, I can hand you the keys. That's not correct. We do have to record. But this
Correct.
is where it gets emotional. I get
Yes,
emotional, you get
yes,
emotional, and you're like, I
absolutely.
did it. I'm not paying my landlord's mortgage anymore. I'm done. And I can change the kitchen right now, and I don't have to ask permission. I love that for you. So,
Well, be careful,
yeah,
Mr. Berry. Sometimes you may not be able to paint the house hot pink. You might have an HOA.
that's
Just,
true. Right, right. Yeah. Just putting it out there.
just
All
saying.
right. Common challenges and how to overcome them.
Mhm.
So let's talk a little bit about challenges that happen in some of the escrows that we hear about. Clouded title. What does that mean?
Clouded title from the previous owner. If there was a refinance and maybe some important documents weren't reconveyed with the county, possibly if there was a challenge or a lien with the actual builder, I mean, there's a ton of things that could be a clouded title if they are buying the home at an auction, so to speak. There's many things that a clouded title can do, or to prevent the closing of the transaction. However, that's something that we're going to do deeper dive when we have an escrow officer on a future podcast.
Brian, why don't we, and you and I talk about this. Brian and I probably get to lunch at least twice a month. We're always catching up. And like I said in the beginning of the show, I talk to Brian probably every single day of the week. If we cut to the chase on this, Brian, the real
Yes,
fact of the matter is, and Brian would be the first to tell you, make sure you have the right people. Make sure you have a really solid lender. Make sure that you have a really solid realtor, and for sure, make sure that you have a really solid title company like Stewart Title, because they can save you so much heartache and pain. And I'm sure you have some stories, but we don't really have time to get into them, Brian. But my goodness,
oh
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? We'll have a horror stories kind of a blooper reel on a future podcast. And hey, we can really tell some whoppers that people go, really? That could happen? Oh yeah.
And then,
But not to you, not to your community.
we when we say that we're going to have a 30-day closing, I mean, we want you to plan for the best, but there may be some bumps in the road, and they do happen. So there might be a delay. We don't want you to get discouraged with that. We just want you to know that it can happen. And if I had to give a percentage of it, I mean, it's probably less than 10% or 15% of all escrows in the state of Nevada have a delay, but I'm just giving a ballpark. But
It does.
it is a
Impact.
potential. There could
Yes.
be a delay.
Yes.
And unexpected fees. Again, depending on who you have representing you, a lot of times this is from the professional side, and oh, I forgot to tell you about that one. Anything else? Unexpected fees?
No, no. All I can say is the best thing to do with there are so many people facilitating the close of this escrow. Believe me, folks, it is not just your realtor, your lender, your home inspector, your home and auto insurance guy, and your title company. At any given time on a typical real estate transaction, you may have up to 23 professional adults touching that file at any given time. That being said, mistakes can happen.
Sure.
Uh,
Yeah.
things can be overlooked. This is a part of the process.
Understood.
We try to mitigate that as much as possible, but it does happen.
Sure.
However, unexpected fees, I have to say, I am not cool with. I know it does happen, but it shouldn't. Everybody should be upfront. The
Sure.
lender, the realtor, the title company with their
Yeah.
fees, what's expected, um, and what's expected from your renting community when they purchase a home. So it happens, doesn't happen often. Hopefully, we'll be given a chance to explain why. But
Understood. Thanks, Brian. That's good advice.
yes, sir.
And then
Oh,
there he is. Look at that. Tips from Brian Holland. I know that Brian, one thing that it's hard to convey, especially because Brian's a good friend of mine, but also this man, he will drop things for people that have questions. And I think, basically he lives for questions. And he spends anywhere from 8 to 12 hours a day on the phone answering questions. So not only does Brian does that, but he has a team that's underneath him, and he has his escrow officers that are underneath him. So talk about questions. One of the things we always say, Brian and I have always said, is there really are no stupid questions.
oh, no, no, no,
Yeah,
no. Matter of
no.
fact, and David can attest to this, I have the patience of Job. If I'm asked the same question 5 times in a single day, my goal is to make you have you not make you, I apologize, have you understand the answer and be comfortable with it. This is a community. This is it can be a very convoluted, very confusing part of the process. But that's why you need professionals such as Mr. Barry that knows the process like the back of his hand and can guide you through any hiccup. There's an old saying, anybody can steer the ship when the sea is calm. When the sea gets rocking, sometimes it does, you want someone like Mr. Barry at the helm.
I thank you for that. Thank you so much.
If I may, folks, I am open to you at any time. Please, my phone number, 702-985-2222. Again, 702-985-2222. I try to keep it simple. Now, I don't promise to answer my phone at 2 a.m., but if you have a question at 2 a.m., feel free to send me a text or give me a call, and I'll answer as soon as sun up.
And what kind of questions could they ask? I mean, can they ask you anything? And I guess here's the thing. If you
Yeah.
were to call Brian and you ask him a question, maybe he doesn't know, or maybe it's a question that's not in his lane. The great news is he's going to be like, you know what? I'm not really sure, but I've got about 300 people that I could refer you to that can answer that question for you.
And David, I'll take it one step further. Folks, if you are involved in your real estate transaction, in your escrow with another title company, not even with Stewart Title, and you have a question, by all means, I will let you know. Yes, that's standard protocol, or you might want to talk to a
Yeah.
supervisor for whatever reason. In
Yeah.
other words, think of me as on your team. As a team member, I'm not here to say that's not my title company. I can't answer that question. That's
Right.
that's not what I do, and that's not what I do for Mr. David Barry.
Thank you, sir. And you want to touch on this one? I know we're getting short on time. I'd like to keep it. We got two more slides to go, Brian. They're going to be
Okay.
pretty quick, but
Yep.
just recognize the preliminary title report and the closing statements. You want to touch on those?
By all means. So the preliminary title report basically is the gospel about the history of your home. All previous owners, any liens, encumbrances attached to the owner and or the property itself. That way, we all know up front what's expected to make sure that when your Freedom from Rent community takes possession of that home, it is their home and theirs only.
Got it. Closing statements?
Closing statements, same thing. If you will be sent all of your closing estimates well ahead of time to have those questions. We are not going to sit you down at the time of your signing to sign up and notarize all of your documents to say, oh, by the way, did you know? No, you're going to know well in advance the cost, what's involved, what's expected of you, and what to bring well in advance. No
And
surprise.
by the way, community, I want you to know that one of the things that Brian does for me, and I know he does it for everybody else, but he does it fast, is when I ask him for what's called a settlement statement that gives an estimate of what all the closing costs and how much money you're going to have to come up with. Or if we're listing your house and selling your home, we get a settlement statement and it kind of goes over all of the different costs. This is a really important document. Some people wait way too late, or maybe their realtor forgets. But this should be given to you right away. You want to talk about the settlement statement real quick?
Absolutely. So basically, the settlement statement would be the estimated fees, with, to the best of our knowledge, that we have all of the information of, again, what the cost will be to you, basically your debits and credit. All right, pure and simple.
Got it.
Now, it would be initially, it would only be from the title escrow side. So we would not have any knowledge of your lender's fees or the appraisal fees, things of that nature. But we'd like to at least give you an initial estimate of what's expected title fee wise, title and escrow fee wise, from you from Stewart Title.
Understood. Great. Got it. All right. Takeaways.
All
This is
right.
there's a lot of takeaways here, buddy. We packed a punch today, but we always do. And that's what this Freedom from Rent community is all about. We want you to be the more educated you are, guys,
Absolutely.
better chance you
Absolutely.
have of winning. And I
Yes.
wish I could, I wish I could, I wish I could say this to you. It's so easy. It doesn't really matter who you use. You could use your
Yeah.
cousin that only sold one house in the last 6 years, but he had a real estate license. Guys, it's super challenging. It is super challenging. So takeaways, Brian, title and escrow. What do you got?
Title and escrow of the utmost importance, even though we're kind of the bottom rung of the totem pole. I'm not going to say that we're any more important than your home inspector, your lender, David Barry. Not at all. But we are a very important aspect of the whole process to, again, to make sure the Freedom from Rent community, when they purchase that home, it is their home and they're comfortable with the process. That is the whole point of how we conduct our business.
And the next one is simple, guys. It just says proactive communication. That means you're supposed to be proactive.
Yes.
Okay, you don't want to be reactive and
No.
stay engaged with your lender. Stay engaged with me. I'm your agent. I'm going to help you get through this. You've come with me this far.
Yeah.
So let's finish. I want to bring you across the finish line. And again, I'm going to say it. I don't, I wish I had a better word, but there are no stupid questions and you
No.
need to
No.
ask them, please. So,
No.
and then Brian, the next steps.
The next steps, let's see here. Schedule a consultation for real estate special or escrow officer. Absolutely. As David said before, there are no stupid questions. We are here to make sure you are comfortable with the entire process. Not, we are not going to pull the wool over your eyes or have you jump through unnecessary hoops. This is a extremely important aspect of achieving the American dream. And in doing so, you must be comfortable. We will make sure you are comfortable with your questions, dare I say, fears, apprehensions, concerns. As David said before, there are no stupid questions. So please, we already
uh,
work for you. Put us to work for you.
and when I'm in the office and Brian is in his building and I'm actually having a signing in there, Brian always makes a point to, and I'm looking at this handshake and you can just see that you can see that almost see the emotion in that hand of just how passionate and how excited these people are. And Brian, for sure, he loves to walk in on a signing and just he's going to shake your hands and he's going to be the first one to congratulate you. And we would be so proud of you. And guys, let's face it. I only have at the time of this filming, I think I have like 16 members. I haven't really even started promoting this yet. This is so new. So you're early in the game. But out
We're
of
doing
16 people, we already have two people, Brian, that have achieved the dream out of
that.
16. Can you
That,
imagine?
that that is one, and and you've only been doing this for a very short time. Um, you know what, David? Just to leave your community with something, we even teach a class called "Why Attend My Client's Closing." That's how important it is to us. We teach realtors and lenders a class. Why attend my client's closing? Because guess what? They don't always show up. That's why you are in great hands with Mr. David Barry. He will show up. He will be there to answer those last minute questions. He will be there to comfort those last minute jitters that we all have as first time home buyers. We all have as first time home buyers. So
Brian, the reason I'm
that is the
smiling
difference.
is Brian, the reason that I'm smiling is a couple screens ago,
Yeah.
we were talking about takeaways and we were talking about any additional questions. But I was laughing because I think what I hear you saying, Brian, is all escrow companies are not the same.
Well, not only not all escrow companies are not the same, not all realtors are created equally. Oops, I said it. Sorry, sue me. But it's true, guys. There are some agents out there that are just looking for their commission check. Oops, I said it.
Uh-oh.
You should feel comfortable and confident in the fact that David Barry is taking a personal stake in making sure you achieve the American dream of home ownership.
Ryan, I got to thank you again from the bottom of my heart. Your friendship means everything to me. Our business relationship means everything to me. And by the way, I don't really give a lot of people credit because I've been working on this community for 2 years. But Brian has been one of the people that I've gone to for 2 years asking him, hey, Brian, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? Brian, I only want to help people that are paying their landlord's mortgage. How can we build this community? How can we help more people have that sense of pride of being a homeowner? It
Yeah.
means the world to. So, Brian, thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining. And again, I'm super
Thank you
easy to
for
get a
having me.
hold of. I am Las Vegas at davidberryrealtor.com. And Brian, do you want to say your contact again real quick? And
Absolutely. You can always call me, text me at 702 985 2222. And if you just feel the need to send me an email, it is Brian, Brian, period, Holland, Holland, at Stewart, Stewart.com. Brian.Holland at Stewart.com. And if not, tie a note to a pigeon's foot. Just make sure it gets to me. Let's get those questions answered, please.
And you guys know that this is my passion. I mean, this is all I do. And, you know, by you sharing this video and sharing this with other people and having the right people, and I can steer you in the direction, I am 100% committed to freedom from rent. Stop paying your landlord's mortgage. Contact me today. I can't wait to help you. And I can't wait to post in our community that you're the proud owner of a new home. Hey, take care. Thanks for listening. This was a little longer than normal, but it was worth it. And if you have any additional questions about anything we talked about, we're here
Please.
for you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care. Thank you. Bye bye. Good night.